not signing a declaration or the certificate when the certificate was signed in Region 1, and thank the people of Region 1 that we saw on the night of March 2nd, that the PPP won resoundingly in Region 1 by over 4,000 votes in Region 1. The SOR today certified that the PPP did win Region 1 by those significant votes. And as we go through those regions, and the 9 regions that were already declared, we would know that the 50,000 plus votes that the PPP had won in those 9 regions will be validated. Region 4, we've got to keep on that discussion that has been a fraudulent declaration by Mingo, and every day we are finding out, and I know Bishop is going to describe that a little better, every day we're finding out the fraudulent boxes that Mingo declared numbers that doesn't match the statement of recount. So overall, I think the Guyanese population is well versed on what has happened so far. We want the count to finish. We understand what the results would be. If you have statistical analysis without even paying attention to what was done before, you would know that the tabulation is proving what is in the public domain already out there.
All right, if you could move specifically, and I'm going to begin with you, Peter. This relates directly to this deliberate slowing down of the process by our counting agents of the APNU AFC. And it is the belief and a very credible train of thought too, that this is a specific initiative geared at putting together a report to use later in the event that the PPP is declared the winner, or the People's Progressive Party at the end of the recount process emerges first past the post and emerges with the most votes. Peter.
Well, it's not. It will be absolutely based on the statement of polls out here. Absolutely, at the end of the recount, the PPP will win this election. Have won the election by 17,000 plus votes, or whatever the final number will be. So the delay, the frivolous delays, to say somebody, when I work as polling agents, when I'm checking off that line when I come in, somebody comes in to vote. If I don't put a ruler exactly where that name is, and I check, I may thought I checked that box. So for APNU agents to believe that hundreds of dead people voted or hundreds of people have migrated, and to come up with those excuses to slow down the process is ridiculous and stupid. The fact is, what is APNU doing? Throwing GCOM under the bus? Did GCOM mess up in so many areas where they allow dead people to vote? Impossible. As we talk through the election day, from the president to the general secretary of the PPP to the presidential candidate of the PPP to the observers, election day was very, very credible. All T's and I's were dotted and crossed. The fact that we all saw a very clean election. There was no reports on election night that any dead person voted. There was no reports of any people that migrated and voted. Everyone knew that the process was very, very clean, and you got to thank GCOM for that. So for APNU now to come up with those frivolous things every day, it's a circus. It's like they've been told that this is the act, and every day they must continue that act. I know Bishop must be frustrated when he sits at station 10 and have to listen to exactly 10 people today, 20 people yesterday, 100 people the next day that are dead and migrated. It's the same story, and it must stop. Delaying that recount will not change the result. That's what APNU needs to realize. I think the brigadier, I call him Granger, needs to understand, no matter what they do to delay the process, the recount will show, the statement of recount will match the SOPs that are in the public domain out there that all of us have seen.
Before you respond to this, question, Bishop, I would want to posit that quite possibly the most resounding commendation of the electoral process on March 2nd came from Basil Williams. There is that very famous or infamous, for want of a better word, video clip of him sitting in a vehicle where he gave resounding kudos to the Elections Commission for running a very smooth process. Bishop, your take on the deliberate slowing down of the process, possibly to formulate a report of sorts.
Well, Michael, let's see if we could get some logic into what is taking place. The APNU AFC wants to convince the world that they won an election. They refuse to produce to the world their statements of poll. Now that you're having a recount and you're having statements of recount that is mirroring in an almost identical manner the statements of poll that was issued by GCOM, APNU is seeking now to create a narrative in what is called an observation report. The observation report was meant to be a report for miscellaneous things, like, for example, a ballot box came and the seal was broken. You observe that and you write that in the observation report. But what they are seeking to do now is to peddle a narrative, and that is what is delaying the process. I sat in a station where an APNU agent come with 69 serial numbers and in a lottery-like manner calling out those numbers to check to see if those persons voted. Out of the 69 that they called, 4 were ticked as voted. They then object to the 4, saying that the 4 persons were out of the jurisdiction on election day. Well, if I'm sitting there and you say out of the jurisdiction, I will say, could you please provide the evidence? No evidence is provided. Secondly, when you say out of the jurisdiction, what does that mean? Out of country, out of area, out of region. None of them could answer the question of this out of jurisdiction narrative to mean out of the country. It is mischievous and malicious allegations that are being made to get a narrative in to suggest that people who ought not to have voted. Persons did not properly present themselves to vote, but still they are appearing on the list to have voted. And it is impugning the integrity of GCOM staff, and not only GCOM staff, but their own agent that was present at each polling station. In order for someone to vote, all of us who voted no, there were certain checks. You had to go in, show your ID card, your serial number was called out. If you didn't have an ID card, you had to take an oath of identity. You had to perform that oath. You had to sign that oath. Your picture had to be compared from the folio to see if it matches the person appearing in front of the presiding officers. All of the agents were there to object, and all of that was done. But a party that is saying that they won an election is now on a path of discrediting that election because they know they did not win the election. Let me see if I can help you, Michael. Yesterday was the 16th of May. And in the stations 8, 9, and 10, which is counting region 4 votes, we counted some boxes. And I want to call out some numbers for you so that your viewers and listeners could understand. Box number 4109. Box number 4109, this is people who voted at the Diamond Secondary School. On the night when the votes were counted, the APNU was awarded 93 votes, and the PPPC was awarded 236 votes. The statement of poll that was prepared and issued and pasted up outside of the Diamond Secondary School said that the PPP got 236 and the APNU got 293. That box came to our polling station. Having all the delays and the go round and the come round, when we counted the votes, the PPPC got 236 votes, and the APNU got 93 votes, exactly what the statement of poll said. But listen to what Mingo declared. Mingo declared for the APNU that got 93, 133. An addition of 40 votes for the APNU. He declared for the PPPC that got 236, 206, a reduction of 30 votes for the PPPC. This is what the APNU AFC cannot deal with. Let me give you another example. Box 4110. Again, Diamond Secondary School, another box. The APNU got 171 votes when they counted on election night. And the PPPC got 80 votes. In the statement of recount that is taking place right now, the APNU got exactly the 171, and the PPP got exactly the 80 that was stated on the statement of poll. So the statement of recount and the statement of poll matched again. Listen to Mingo's declaration. APNU AFC 191, an addition of 20 votes to the APNU. PPPC that got 80, a declaration of 60 minus 20 from the PPP. Let me go on to another box. 4112. Box 4112. At the Diamond Secondary School alone, the APNU got 130 in that box, and the PPPC got 101. At the statement of recount, the APNU lost 1 vote. It came down to 129 because a vote for the PPPC was in the APNU's bundle. So the PPPC moved from 101 to 102. Listen to Mingo's declaration. APNU that got 130 on the night and at the recount 129, Mingo declared 180. For the PPPC, he declared 101. He added on 51 more votes to the APNU's votes at that box. And I give you the last one for now. 4113. This is a Diamond Nursery School. Box 4113. And this box had a tremendous problem yesterday. I was almost physically abused by an APNU rep in the room, but I had to stand up to him over this box. The APNU got 170 votes, and the PPPC got 125 votes. At the statement of recount, yesterday when we were finished counting that box, the APNU got their exact 170, and the PPP got their exact 125. Listen to Mr. Mingo's declaration. APNU 220, inflated by 50. PPPC that got 125, reduced by 20 by declaring 105. That is what they don't want to happen. Because every time a box is counted and it reflects the record of the statements of poll issued by GCOM, which is in the PPPC's possession, that is on the PPPC's website. And people go back to the audio and whatever is available of Mingo's declaration, you are seeing fraud. So they want to slow down the process and they want to create a narrative. Maybe the PPP got these numbers, but it is because of some form of skullduggery. And then we had the Aubrey Norton this afternoon trying to impugn the character of presiding officers by saying the PPPC compromised presiding officers. When GCOM, Mr. Lowenfield and Roxanne Myers headed the GCOM secretariat and hired all the polling day staff and placed them where they wanted. It is now the PPP, but they cannot change the numbers. And that is the reason why they're slowing down the process. So I rest my case now, Michael, so we could continue.
Yeah, Michael, I want to read something that Dr. Jack Dio, or General Secretary of the PP, put out today that I think summarized what Bishop just said. The only things that are not credible in relation to the March 2nd general and regional elections are Mingo's declaration for District 4 and Abdu and AFC while substantiated allegations without widespread irregularities. So what he's saying basically, everything was credible except for that fraud that is so evident. I mean, right now, after what Bishop just described, of the 13 boxes today that came out that showed different numbers, the fact that the Commissioner of Police has not been called in by GCOM to investigate a fraud that is so evident of national importance, that is mind-boggling. The fact that is, we now know this is about 40-something boxes out of many more to come that demonstrates credible fraud by Mingo, whoever directed him to do it, and the intellectual authors all need to be paying the price. But right now, GCOM should be calling in the investigators, the police force, to investigate a fraud. If you do that in any accountant, steal money from a company, immediately that investigation, you're arrested and you go into jail if convicted. So we've got evidence that just described that needs to be dealt with very, very aggressively and harshly for what Mingo has done to our nation and what he has done to our people of Guyana.
All right. I want to raise a very important issue, which it's an observation by many, and I'm just reminded that there was a meeting at the Arbitral Convention Center today, possibly chaired by David Granger, attended by Valde Lawrence, Amna Ali, Keith Lowenfield, Claudette Singh, GCOM staff. Question, why weren't the other political parties party to that meeting? Why weren't they involved in it? Or why the other political parties are not privileged to have that kind of access to the commission? Is there something amiss? It's very concerning. It's something that just came to the fore, and it's something that has been observed during the course of the day, during the visit of David Granger to the Arbitral Convention Center. Bishop, you must be aware of this. And you too, Peter.
Yeah, and I'll start. I saw the pictures. Now, here is a man, Brigadier Granger, I call him, the old man, that every time he has said he doesn't interfere with GCOM. He follows the Constitution. When you look at that picture published in the media, Granger is sitting in a room alone with his political team and only GCOM. That was not, they had an official meeting yesterday with GCOM. What was Granger dictating to GCOM, or what were they telling him in that meeting? That is something that needs to be investigated quickly too. Granger, as president, can tour the facility. He can walk around. He cannot sit in meetings. He cannot direct. He's a candidate no different than Dr. Irfan Ali in this process. So he can't show up one day as president and the next day show up as his people show up as a political party. So the fact that he was part of GCOM meeting without the commissioners is an illegal act that the man did, and it should be looked into very aggressively by the commission. And Claudette Singh, as the chairperson, should have never allowed Mr. Granger to sit alone with the GCOM staff, especially those that rigged the election. Bishop?
Well, Michael and Peter, it would appear that in Guyana, there are people who have rights and there are others who don't have rights. In an election cycle, because the election is not yet completed. In an election cycle, the only status quo you have are candidates. Mr. Granger is the representative and leader of his list. If he is visiting the recount of votes, he's doing so in his capacity as a candidate and as a representative of the list. The protocols that were engaged today suggest that he was there in some other capacity other than the representative and leader of his list. And the protocols that were laid out
I think we may have lost Bishop.
I think we would have lost his audio. I'll have to get back to him. Bishop, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we lost you at the point of your comment about the protocols laid out.
Okay, the protocols that were laid out today, where it would appear that Mr. Granger was met by the chairman, the chief elections officer, and the deputy chief elections officer, and then held a private meeting without the commissioners present with the chairman, like Peter was saying, is something that is of grave concern. Michael, I want you to think and imagine if Barajadio or Irfan Ali had met with Claudette Singh, retired justice, alone, without Vincent Alexander and the others.
Okay, we seem to be having some challenges with.
But everybody else are riggers, fraudsters, and the APNU, AFC are the decent people. So they don't have to have rules of engagement. They could do whatever they want. What a myth. What a delusion that they're living under. But everybody is seeing it. Everybody is seeing it. And I'm happy. And I'm happy that the world, even though they haven't allowed the Carter Center and the IRI and others to be back here using COVID-19 as the excuse, I'm happy that the world is still seeing that these people who call themselves the APNU AFC, who claims to have won these elections, who are on 4 occasions preparing to swear in David Granger as president, had it not been for the swift action of the PPPC and its legal team, he probably would have already been sworn into office on that fraudulent Mingo's declaration. They are now trying to create a narrative that elections is not credible. Who wins an election and attacks it? Who wins an election and tries to destroy it? And that is a clear case where they have not won the election. They haven't won the election. If they had won it, the narrative would have been different. And all of this shenanigans that is taking place today is something that, the world is seeing.
All right. My concern, however, continues to be, Peter, the specific actors who were part of the meeting. Those are the persons who have been specifically pointed out as the chief bottle washers of the rigging exercise.
I agree, and I think what Bishop used the term grave concern. It is grave national concern, the fact that Granger sits in a meeting with the players that have been accused of rigging a national election in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. When you look in that room and you see people like Myers, who kicked us out of the Ashman building to stop the recount so that Mingo can declare his results through a spreadsheet. When you see Granger, who has said he won the election March 4th, that he's going to swear in by sunrise, sit with those people. When you see Joe Harmon, who sat in that meeting with Granger, that said the other night that, the declaration that was previously set out by Lowenfield are accurate, and others that have said that, Amna Ali, said that basically the recount doesn't matter. All of those same people sat in that room with the senior GCOM staff. What is afoot? What was Granger telling them to do starting tomorrow? What was he telling them not to approve more workstation as the COVID-19 person? What was he telling them, and why is the process delayed? GCOM, Singh, and the commission needs to explain to the Guyanese population what was Granger doing in that room, why did he have the other riggers in the room with him, and why did GCOM staff, who is not allowing the other workstations to be implemented, there with him. It is a grave, grave concern, and we cannot let that go. We want the recount to be completed. We want and I said this many times before, and I will repeat it. There is no narrative, there is no play that will ever see David Regular Granger elected as president of Guyana in any near future. The recount, the statement of polls that are out there show that the PPP has won this election. Region 1 came in exactly with what it should have come in with. Region 2, Region 3, Region 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 will come in exactly what the statement of polls are out there. So no matter what the riggers in that room is trying to create for some narrative tomorrow, there is no path for Granger to be ever sworn in as president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. So they can do anything they want. They can be a circus every day. They can, as the Jamaican Observer said, it's a shameful circus. But the fact that the Granger, the regular Granger, the old man needs to understand the best thing he can do is potentially concede. The best thing he can do is to tell or ask the Commissioner of Police and GCOM to investigate the fraudulent declaration by a man named Mingo and whoever authorized him to do that. And why would Lowingfield, knowing fact that fraudulent declaration was made, would send it to the commission to declare a winner? So we have to be very careful that all those riggers sitting in the room is sitting there with Granger without no one on the outside understanding what happened in that meeting. Grave, grave concern, as the bishop said.
Your take on this, Bishop?
Michael, I'll make my case again. The PNC, the APNU have never explained how Walter Lawrence's signature got on that declaration made by claimant Mingo. But she's participating along with Granger, with the riggers who have refused to produce the statements of poll. Remember, one of the motions that was moved at the GCOM's meeting is that the chief elections officer makes available his statements of poll to the commissioners. And they voted no. But while Granger and his riggers were at the Town Convention Center today, listen to what was happening in the various rooms. Box 4115 was counted. Again, Diamond Nursery School, the APNU, AFC, on the night of the election when the votes were counted, got 133. The PPPC got 178. The statement of recount that was signed today by the APNU agent in that station would say that the APNU got exactly 133 and the PPPC got 178. What did Mingo declare? Mingo's declaration, APNU, 163, an addition of 30 votes, fraud. The PPPC that got 178, what did he declare? 158, a deduction of 20 votes. Granger knows that. Walter Lawrence knows that. They know these boxes are presently counting. That is why he showed up today to give instructions to Lowenfield and to Roxanne Myers. But let us go on. Box 41, 16, Diamond Nursery School, another box in that school. The APNU, this is counting while Granger and Lawrence and Harmon and Amna Ali and Ricedale Ford and the whole bandwagon of the North and them trying to make mischief. These boxes are counting. That is why they're ratcheting up their propaganda. But listen to the reality, people. The APNU AFC got 138. The PPPC got 99. When the boxes were counted today, the APNU AFC agent witnessed.
Okay, we continue to have some challenges.
PPPC 99. What did Mingo declare for this box? 188 for the APNU, an addition of 50. And what did he declare for the PPPC that got 99? 69, a reduction.
All right.
Michael, I would say if folks want to go see those numbers, they're on the People Progressive Party's page on Facebook. The spreadsheets are there. Everyone can go. The numbers that Bishop is reading out, they can go back and study those numbers if they miss, what Bishop may have said.
Which takes us possibly to the most potent issue emerging out of the recount. And let's look at just over 40 specific boxes counted in District 4. So far, just over 40 boxes. There are more than 40 boxes counted in District 4. But of those boxes...
Those fraudulent, fictitious numbers that came from Mingo.
Yes, specifically, there are just over 40 boxes in District 4, which has inflated APNU FC figures by over 2,000 and decreased PPP figures by over 700. Just those 40 boxes alone.
So they've added
of the boxes so far counted in Region 4 would have given a margin of 3,000 or an additional 3,000 votes to the APNU FC. Your take on this, Peter?
Well, I mean, it's definitely, as Bishop described those numbers, and I said you can go to the PP page to study them a little more in detail.
But this is a sum total of the discrepancies.
Yes, it is a significant number, and that
or
number...
Fraud. I'm not going to give it a fancy word, the fraud.
No, but those numbers, as we continue the recount every single day, Mingo's numbers will be taken down by every box. The fact is, the box has the correct number inside. Bishop is showing, as he sits on station 10, the box numbers is matching what the statement of polls said. So
I want to add Mingo's numbers or numbers given to Mingo. One of the two.
Yeah, what Mingo numbers were made up. I mean, he wherever he had 50, 100, minus 33, what he didn't realize, maybe he never thought that we would ever get to open those boxes, maybe till after a declaration. But now, I don't know if Mingo is on the run. I hope maybe he's on the run because, if I was sitting in issue...
Peter and Michael, this is exactly why Mingo denied 8 contesting political parties who requested a recount of Region 4 votes. He denied all the parties. And he was busy trying to get his fictitious declaration out because he knows his numbers were not real numbers. They went out to the propaganda campaign and said, Jadio, prepare statements of poll and give to presiding officers. Well, Jadio must be a magician that he knows the numbers so he can prepare it ahead of the election and give it. But the recount is showing that the PPPC's statements of poll are all authentic. And this is where they cannot change the narrative. The authenticity of the PPPC statements of poll that were pasted up on our and posted on our website.
Just a point of correction, Bishop. Statements of poll given to the PPP by GCOM. These are not PPP statements of poll.
Yeah,
Yes.
and posted it on there on outside the polling
Given to
station.
us by GCAM.
Yeah.
So even if you want to say that the PPPC did some mischief, the boxes are coming to the room sealed, the counterfoil of ballots issued, and the counterfoil of ballots not issued reconciles with the amount of ballots issued to the station. There is no shortage or overcharge of ballots in the box. Whenever discipline services votes were added, there's a statement accompanying it, so every vote is accounted for, and the numbers are remaining the same. David Granger, Walter Lawrence, Joe Harmon, and the cabal, the rigging cabal, cannot and will never ever be able to explain to the people of Guyana how Mingo got those numbers. Lowenfield and Roxanne Myers must also be held to the fire. That is why today, that meeting that took place is one of great concern. But thank God, while they were meeting, while they were yet meeting to plan or to instruct or to do whatever was the purpose of that visit, the numbers remain consistent and the fraud is being declared. So Aubrey Norton going out there to talk about their people who voted and people who migrated, voted, and poll books can be found. All of that.
Not to mention grease on the finger.
Huh?
Grease on the finger.
I did not get that.
No, there is also reference to grease on the fingers before it is dipped into the ink.
Well, you know, these professors are people who claim to be professors, who are basically trying to insult the intelligence of the Guyanese people. I have said to a couple of the APNU agents who work with me, because they've been changing agents around the clock, sometimes 5 different agents in the station for the day. And I've said to every one of them, you have to live in your community when this recount is finished. You have to face the Guyanese people when this recount is finished. You have to continue to practice your profession and your trade. Why are you sacrificing your character, your integrity with this foolish propaganda? You are seeing the results and you are still going out there to talk nonsense.
Yeah, and to those GCOM presiding officers and polling agents that work very hard on March 2nd, they should not allow APNU now to say that they did not do their job on election day. We know every GCOM presiding officer, every GCOM polling agent, every scrutineer did an extremely good job on March 2nd. It was validated by the political parties, was validated by the president himself, it was validated by the international community, the observers, the Carter Center, the OAS, that election day was run in a very fair, transparent, accountable, and credible manner. So the only thing right now that is not credible about the election, as Dr. Jagdeo said today, is what we're talking about, is Mingo's fraudulent declaration, numbers that he made up. He lied. It's a crime, and it has to be investigated. So I agree with the bishop. All those agents working across all political parties, we're going to do our jobs. We're going to make sure the count is right in that box. There's no way to fake it. So I don't know what the riggers think that they will do next. There's nothing they can do next to change what has already been shown with the numbers that Bishop described just now that shows, and you said, Gordon, 3 out of 40 boxes that of Region 4 that Mingo declared different numbers all showed what the correct number is.
So we got 600 more boxes to go for Region 4. 600 more.
Our time is almost gone, but there's a very important issue that came up today, and I'm referring specifically to a comment made by Mr. Granger himself while he briefed the media following his meetings at the Artichon Convention Center today. And if I could paraphrase his comment, he referred to 2 key issues raised during the course of those meetings. My question is, since you are the guys on the inside, you may not, you are obviously not a part of the meeting. What are those 2 issues? I am concerned. I would like to know what are the 2 issues raised. I'm also disappointed that the question of what are the 2 issues were not asked by the media. Bishop?
Well, I spoke about it before. Look, like some people have rights and other people don't have rights. If an Ali could not have gone into a room and have a private discussion with the chief elections officer and the deputy chief elections officer and the chairman without the presence of the other commissioners, particularly those representing the AP and UAFC, but Granger did that today. Granger did that today, and he's saying there were issues that remain secret. Well, what is secret? Today is day 12. The exposure of Mingo's fraudulent declarations are being shown to the whole world. The APNU AFC must come to the nation and say, we lied. We tried a thing and we didn't get through. But I don't know what Granger's plan is, but his only plan should be to concede defeat. We have held this country back for 70-something days, having had it go through crisis for 14 months since the no confidence motion to the election. And now the pantomime continues on a daily basis. He says one thing, Walter Lawrence says something, Amna Ali says something. They use COVID as a way. We started to see discernible evidence in the convention center that they were making room for other counting stations. We saw discernible evidence, things being moved and so on. We said, great, we're going to have some more counting stations to speed up the process. Where is the report from the COVID task force?
But
why is GCOM not yet announcing?
But we're overlooking a very critical issue.
That's a part of the discussion Granger had with Lowenfield and Claudette Singh and Roxanne Myers today, with Walter Lawrence and the others.
A determination as it relates to the number of workstations was made by the GCOM chairman, who specifically determined that no more than 10 stations will be utilized.
But GCOM is looking to have other stations, and the COVID-19 task force medical team visited the convention center.
But my question is, it is within the remit of the chairman of GCOM to make that decision. It is not within the remit of the COVID task force. The COVID task force's responsibility is to say, you have chosen 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 additional stations, and this is how they should operate.
Because the COVID-19 is run by the politics of APDU, right? And so they wanted to slow down the recount, so they're claiming, but I agree with you, Michael, the fact that as long as GCOM follows the rules and regulations, the procedures of the COVID-19 procedures, then they can add 20 more workstations once they follow the rules and regulations. So GCOM cannot wait anymore on COVID-19. Walter Lawrence and the rest of them, Joe Harmon, who's running COVID-19, is the same people that are saying they don't want to increase the stations. Yes. And one thing I want to add, Michael, I know as you get closer to the end of the program, during all this process, the economics of our country is at stake. The Bank of Guyana has registered now a negative $82 million in the bank account today of the government. They're spending more money than they have. The citizens are suffering the COVID-19, the election standstill. We need to get on with the business of running our country. Dr. Irfan Ali has put together a significant development and economic plan that needs to get started as soon as possible. The people of Guyana needs that relief from an economic perspective, development perspective, and we need this recount to be completed in a fair, transparent, accountable manner. Workstation must be increased. Dr. Irfan Ali must get a chance to get his plan off the ground. And he said, and I repeat it every time I'm on the show, that Dr. Irfan Ali has committed to the Guyanese population to be an equal opportunity president. So all those APNU supporters, PP supporters, any other supporters, as a Guyanese citizen, you have a lot to look forward under Dr. Ali's administration. We need to get the recount completed. The results are there. The fraud is evident. Granger, the rigger, Granger needs to understand he should be embarrassed to even come to the convention center, knowing the fact that he allowed rigging to go on under his watch. He will go down in history as the president that rigged the election. No matter what he says from now on, he will go down in history as a president that tried to steal an election regardless of whether he used Mingo, regardless of whether he used Lowingfield. The fact is, he knows he lost the election. He needs to wake up and tell the Guyanese population that he's lost the election and he's going to move on. Let the recount finish.
And on that note, Peter, in 60 seconds, if David Granger was in front of you right now, what would you have said to him? 60 seconds.
Absolutely what I had said a few minutes ago. Mr. Granger, the old man, the rigger, the fact is you would have had the SOPs as you did it on 2015. 13th of May 2015, Mr. Granger said he has calculated all his SOPs and he knows exactly that Abdul won the election. In 2020, 2 days later, he claimed that the SOPs is not there and he won the election, even though all the SOPs from everywhere else, from GCOM, from the political parties, showed that he lost the election. He lied to himself. The man is a dishonest man. I would tell him, Mr. Granger, you're dishonest. You can't even lie to yourself better than that. You know you lost the election. To allow Guyana 2 months later to go through an economic crisis, to go through a health crisis, to look at the people suffering across our nation, and you walk into the convention center today acting that you're the president. The one good statement he made that he would accept the recount. Well, get the recount finished. Get the 25 days. We need more workstations. We need to be counting 135 boxes starting tomorrow. Get it done, Mr. Granger, and maybe you will leave some legacy. Call investigation on Mr. Mingo Granger, put the man in jail, get the police to put the man in jail, and let the electoral authors be shown. Mr. Granger, if you want to have any legacy, you've got minutes to tell the Guyanese population what happened and move on. Get out of office, you've lost the election. Let Dr. Irfan Ali, who's the elected president, be sworn in to run our nation for the next 5 years.
Okay, I'll ask you the same question, Bishop Edghill.
What would I tell David Granger?
Yes.
Live up to what you told the Guyanese people you are. You said you were decent. You said you were a godly man, and you're a man of integrity. Everything that you have done have shown that you are not. You still have an opportunity to redeem yourself by doing what is right. Concede that you have lost the election. Bring the charade to an end. This daily pantomime of trying to destroy the character of the people who worked on election day and challenging presiding officers. You know, the one fly in the ointment was claimant Mingo and the riggers around him, supported by senior people in a GCOM who protected him. You need to ensure that you deal with that, bring this charade to an end, concede you have lost the elections, and let the statements of poll and the statements of recount that are matching that statement of poll unequivocally be used to declare the results, and let's get this country moving again and stop this nonsense about trying to find who dead, who migrate, who vote without ID card, creating confusion and sending out your propagandists out there to create that narrative. It will not work.
On this note, I'd like to bring this program to an end. Of course, I've been joined by Mr. Peter Ramsaroop, economic advisor to the PPP and PPP candidate, Mr. Bishop Juan Edghill, who former Minister of Finance. Join me again tomorrow at 10 hours, 10 a.m. for another recount update. We'll also be having updates during the course of the day. The order will be at 10, the order will be at 1 p.m., then later at 4 p.m. And again, join my colleague Edward Lynn tomorrow night at 8. I'm your host, Michael Gordon. Good night. Thanks for watching.
Good evening.